You're not paranoid. You're not overreacting. You just know that the doorbell isn't a friendly sound. It's an alarm system going off in a nervous system that's already on high alert. And most people will never understand why a simple ding-dong feels like an ambush. Picture this. You're finally comfortable. Maybe you're in your pajamas, halfway through a show, brain finally quiet for the first time all day. Then it happens. The doorbell rings. And suddenly your heart is racing. Your stomach drops. You freeze like a deer in headlights, hoping they didn't see the light on, praying they'll just leave. You're not answering. You're barely breathing. And even after they're gone, it takes you 20 minutes to feel safe again. People think you're being dramatic, antisocial, rude. But here's what's really happening. Your dread of the doorbell isn't about hating visitors. It's about losing control, about intrusion, about your nervous system treating unexpected contact like a threat you didn't consent to. And there are very specific psychological reasons why that sound sends you into fight or flight, why spontaneity feels like chaos, and why your home is the one place you refuse to be caught off guard. Let me break it down. Number 1. Your brain treats the doorbell like a boundary violation, not an invitation. Most people hear a doorbell and think, "Oh, someone's here." You hear it and think, "Someone wants something from me." And you didn't get a chance to prepare for what that something might be. It's not the person at the door you're afraid of. It's the demand, the expectation, the social script you're suddenly supposed to perform without rehearsal. Think of your home like a backstage area. The doorbell is someone ripping the curtain open mid-costume change. You're not being unfriendly when you don't answer. You're protecting the version of yourself that doesn't have to be on. And here's where it starts to make sense. Number 2. You learned early that people showing up unannounced meant unpredictability, and unpredictability meant danger. Somewhere in your story, a knock at the door didn't mean good news. Maybe it meant tension, a fight, bad news, someone angry, someone drunk, someone you had to manage emotionally before you were even old enough to understand why. So your nervous system coded it. Doorbell, Jash, threat. Even now, even when it's just a delivery driver or a neighbor, your body doesn't care. It remembers. It's like a smoke alarm that goes off every time you toast bread. The alarm isn't broken. It's just calibrated to a fire that happened years ago. You're not overreacting to the doorbell. You're reacting to what the doorbell used to mean. But here's the part people miss. Number 3. The doorbell forces an immediate decision, and your brain hates being rushed into social mode. When someone texts, you have time. You can craft a response. You can decide when you're ready to engage. But the doorbell? That's a right-now demand. And if there's one thing your nervous system can't stand, it's being forced into connection before you've decided you're ready for it. You need a buffer, a transition, a moment to shift from private you to public you. The doorbell strips that away. It's like being pulled onto a stage while you're still reading the script. You're not refusing to perform. You're just not ready to be perceived yet. You're not antisocial. You're just selectively social. And that selection process requires consent, and that's where the deeper pattern emerges. Number 4. Your hypervigilance makes you hypersensitive to intrusion, which is why your space feels sacred. You don't just hear the doorbell. You feel it in your chest, your shoulders, your jaw. Because you're wired to scan for threats, to anticipate what comes next, to read the room before you even enter it. And the doorbell is the ultimate intrusion, something happening to you that you didn't initiate. It's like having a motion sensor attached to your nervous system. Every unexpected stimulus triggers the alarm. You're not being dramatic when you say it startles you. You're describing a literal threat response. Your body is doing exactly what it was trained to do. Protect you from being caught unprepared. You're not fragile. You're vigilant, and vigilance has a cost. But here's what makes this complicated. Number 5. You've turned your home into a fortress, not to keep people out, but to keep yourself regulated. Your space isn't just where you live. It's where you decompress, where you drop the mask, where you finally stop performing. And the doorbell threatens that. It doesn't matter if it's someone you love, someone harmless, someone just dropping off a package. The issue isn't who it is, it's that your sanctuary just got breached. Think of yourself like a battery that only charges in one specific outlet. Your home is that outlet. And the doorbell is someone unplugging you mid-charge. You're not being difficult. You're protecting the one place where you get to stop holding it together. And the people who don't need that kind of space, they'll never understand why you do, because for them, connection is energizing. For you, it's expensive. And here's the beautiful contradiction. You're the person who dreads the doorbell, and also the person who shows up when it matters. You hate unannounced visits, but you'll drive across town if someone you love needs you. You screen calls, ignore knocks, pretend you're not home, but when you do let someone in, you give them everything. You're not cold, you're not distant, you're just incredibly intentional about who gets access and when. You value depth over frequency, meaning over convenience, peace over performance. And the people who misunderstand that will always think you're hard to reach. But the people who get it, they'll never take your presence for granted, because they know, when you open the door, it's not out of obligation, it's because you chose them. Now let's be honest, there's a version of this that tips into avoidance. If you're using your dread of the doorbell to stay completely isolated, to never let anyone close, to avoid all spontaneity because it feels safer to stay hidden, that's not protection anymore. That's a prison. The difference? Healthy boundaries let you control when and how you connect, not if. If the sound of the doorbell sends you into panic every single time, if you're structuring your entire life around avoiding any form of unexpected contact, it might be worth asking, am I protecting my peace, or am I protecting myself from being seen? This isn't about forcing yourself to get over it. It's about checking in. Is this boundary serving you, or is it shrinking your world? You deserve a home that feels safe, but you also deserve connection that doesn't feel like an invasion. So if you're someone who dreads the doorbell, you're not broken, you're not weird, you're just someone who needs control over when the world gets to reach you. Your space is sacred because it's the only place you don't have to be anyone but yourself. Your dread isn't irrational, it's protective. And the right people will never show up unannounced. They'll text first. They'll ask. They'll respect that your door isn't always open, not because you don't care, but because you care about staying regulated enough to actually be present when you do open it. And that's not weakness, that's wisdom. So tell me in the comments, team, text before you come over, or team, just ring the bell. And if this one resonated, you need to watch the next video on the psychology of people who can't relax when someone else is in their house. Because if the doorbell feels like an alarm, chances are having someone in your space feels like being watched. Let's talk about why.